We now want to bring in CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris, who is in Washington and joins us now. And Steve, well, to quote our colleague Major Garrett, we did see a Twitter squall today, and it seems perhaps to feed into the feud with Bill Clinton, something of an aftermath. It does return us to discussions of an electoral college and, by extension, greater questions of delegitimizing a victory. What do you make of everything we've seen and read from the president-elect today?
Well, what it is just continues his commentary on really trying to prove to people, whether it's the people who read his tweets or the rest of the country, that his election is legitimate. And there is the question, at least among the people who didn't vote for Donald Trump, who look at the numbers, and there are reports now that the numbers are fully certified in terms of the popular vote, and that Hillary Clinton won about 2.8 million more votes in the popular vote than Donald Trump. And there's nothing that seems to irk him more than that fact, even though he is the legitimate president-elect of the United States. But he continues to point out that he won the Electoral College, and if the rules were different, and he was running in a popular vote election, solely a popular vote election, that he would have done better and not have lost by 2.8 million votes, as you saw in one of those tweets. So really, it's just him sort of emphasizing that his election is legitimate despite what his critics say.
But isn't it also just an example of how thin the skin of the president-elect is?
Well, you said that. But I mean, I think that's what we see in his tweets a lot. It's not just about this, but it's about any time people criticize him, publicly especially, and really call him out for not being what he thinks he is, which is a successful businessman, a successful now politician. Anytime anybody criticizes him or calls him out, he gets out on there on Twitter and then calls them out. And that's what you're seeing really in the back and forth between him and Bill Clinton in these tweets. Bill Clinton called him out, basically said the election was because of Russian hacking and the FBI, and Donald Trump says, no, I won this election, I won it legitimately, and by the way, your wife was a poor candidate. And so you see him lash out or tweet or whatever you want to call it anytime somebody goes after him. But this is really
But this isn't somebody going after him. I mean, if this is a response, as you pointed out, to David Wasserman of the Cook Political Report, simply enumerating the final vote tallies.
Right.
That's something else altogether.
It is, but again, it shows that maybe there's an insecurity there, or maybe he's just trying to continue to push a storyline in his mind that is a positive storyline, which is I won, regardless of what anybody else says. I won,
and
so
he did.
And you can look at it two ways. If you look at it from the point of view of his supporters, he's being positive. If you look at it from the point of his detractors, he's a baby. So it really is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah, this all comes again, as I mentioned, the FBI unsealing the search warrant to look at those emails of Hillary Clinton's found on Huma Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner, at the time. I want to read a tweet, though, from Clinton's former campaign press secretary, Brian Fallon. And I quote, "The unsealed findings regarding Huma's emails reveals Comey's, reference to Jim Comey, director of the FBI, intrusion on the election was as utterly unjustified as we suspected at the time." What do you make here of this?
Well, there's a little Monday morning quarterbacking going on by Fallon. I think if you read that affidavit, the FBI suggested, and this is based on the history of the case, that there was probable cause to look into this computer and into these emails and to have a second look, mainly because of what they had seen before in emails between Abedin and Hillary Clinton. And so there was a concern. The bar, apparently, according to most legal folks, is pretty low to get a warrant in this kind of situation. And so they got the warrant. And so I think what Fallon's doing is he's doing what I think a lot of other people in the Clinton orbit are doing, and basically saying that Comey helped throw the election to Trump by doing these kinds of things, by bringing this up a week or two before the election. But